This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
And good Monday morning. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And always nice to get that extra day or so off, right?
Yeah, except it makes the Monday even harder than a normal Monday.
Yes.
December 1st already.
I know.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Where'd the year go? The year at this point, gone.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that hit me like a ton of bricks. But yeah, we're going to be feeling like December as the day goes along. We're going to be talking about more of that cold air settling in. We're sitting in the 20s for everyone this morning, ranging from 23 degrees for those of you in Paoli and Columbia to 28 in Frankfort and Madison, 27 degrees at the airport in Louisville, and for those of you in LaGrange. But what does it feel like? Well, we do have a light wind, so that is why we are feeling more like the upper teens and the low 20s in most spots to start off the day. We're also watching some upper level clouds drifting in from the west and then some lower level clouds pushing in from the east this morning. So that means for those of you along and north of the parkways, you're going to start off the day pretty cloudy, while areas further to the south are going to be talking about some bright, beautiful sunshine this morning. Once you get into the afternoon, everyone will see some more of those clouds taking over with highs today in the 30s. And while the daytime hours are quiet, we get into tonight. We have the alert day kicking in at 9 p.m. and that will last throughout the day on Tuesday because of potential travel impacts across our area. Initially looking like a wintry mix, switching over to snow by early on your Tuesday. And while most of the snow should be out of the region by the time a lot of us will be hitting the roads for your morning commute, this is when we'll be seeing more of the accumulations on the ground and, of course, some slick spots possible. So a lot to watch as we head over the next 24 hours. Rob?
Okay, Tawana, thanks so much. And at 7:02, good morning to you. Hopefully your Monday morning is starting out great. I know it's tough to get rolling after a long holiday weekend, but the good part, no accidents on the roadways. This is a great shot. I-71 at I-265. A lot folks out there maybe hitting the roads for the first time in a couple of days, back to work and school, but light traffic, dry conditions out there. No major problems to talk about as of right now, so we certainly hope it stays that way. Looking at the big picture, a lot of green across the big board, and that's a good sign. A couple of slowdowns because of disabled vehicles there, but nothing that should hamper your travels this morning. Your drive time still looking pretty good. We're still at 10 minutes and under, using 65 through most of the metro areas, and the Kentucky traffic cameras looking pretty good. Clear conditions out there this morning, and dry traffic is certainly picking up, so watch your speed. Be sure to buckle up. Back over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rob. Several reports overnight say the University of Kentucky is set to fire head football coach Mark Stoops today. ESPN college football senior writer Pete Thamel was the first to post the report on X. Stoops went 82-80 in 13 seasons at UK and is the school's all-time winningest coach. But after being outscored 86-17 in his final two games and missing a bowl game for the second straight year, Stoops summarized on Saturday how he felt about his team's season.
I'm not very pleased with the way we finished the season, obviously. Feel like we made some improvements throughout the middle of the season there, and then towards the end, just couldn't hang on. Didn't play very good, didn't coach very good, and got our butts kicked.
Some of the names being mentioned as possible candidates to replace Stoops include current Oregon offensive coordinator and former U of L quarterback Will Stein. Ohio State's offensive coordinator Brian Hartline has also popped up. And we'll, of course, have more on the Stoops situation as details come out later today.
The rushing waters of the Ohio River are keeping first responders from pulling a car and potentially a person back onto land. Investigators say a car went into the Ohio River near Joe's Crab Shack on River Road Saturday night. After an extensive search, crews found the car near the 2nd Street Bridge. They say they're not able to get the car out of the water, though, because of swift and dangerous river currents. Emergency crews say they're monitoring the situation and will try to get to the car when it is safe.
A young girl is dead, a woman seriously injured, and one person arrested after a crash near Iroquois Park. It happened around 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon close to Taylor Boulevard and Arling Avenue, just a few blocks north of the park. LMPD says a witness told them it started when a car was speeding through the northbound lanes and hit a utility pole, then crossed over all the lanes and hit another car head on. The department says the collision caused the second car to hit a parked vehicle. A woman and child were taken to the hospital. The child died. The woman has serious serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Officers say the driver of the car that originally crashed and his passenger both ran away from the scene. They arrested the driver, who is a minor, but they've not yet found the passenger. The traffic unit is handling the investigation.
LMPD is looking into to see if two shootings in the Parkland neighborhood are connected. Just before midnight Sunday, officers were called to a home on Greenwood Avenue, a few blocks east of I-264, and they found a man there who had been shot. He was taken to the hospital and should survive his injuries. Minutes later, officers were called to another scene just a few houses away from the first one, and they found another man who had been shot multiple times. He died in the home. Homicide detectives are working to learn if the two shootings are related.
We expect to learn more this week about a deadly Thanksgiving morning shooting in southern Indiana. Around 1:30 a.m. on Thursday, the Washington County Sheriff's Department responded to a shooting at a home on Bush Road, southwest of Pekin. That's where they found 26-year-old Juan Gutierrez with a gunshot wound. He died at the hospital. His autopsy is scheduled for today. Indiana State Police arrested 22-year-old Philip Hawkins. He's charged with reckless homicide and is being held in the Washington County Jail.
A local comic book store is sharing surveillance video after they were robbed Thanksgiving morning. The thief is seen on the video breaking in through the door of Pop's Comics and Collectibles and then jumping over the counter at the store on Hess Lane. They then steal the store's cash register, which had about $200 in it, and a few of the owner's personal items. The owners say they're waiting to learn now how much repairs will cost.
The cash was about $200. The door, we're still waiting on the bill because we had someone come out in the middle of the night on a holiday. So I'm sure that is not going to be cheap.
And LMPD confirmed two other robberies at local businesses, too, in the early morning hours at Comic World and Fat Rabbit Vintage. Security video from Fat Rabbit shows what appears to be the same person just hours later, though LMPD has not commented on the person's identity or whether they've been caught.
The main public library on York Street is closed for the next year. Yesterday was the last day to enjoy the library before renovations. The $8 million renovation project will create more than 16,000 square feet of public space and open existing closed stacks of the 1906 building. Crews also plan to reopen the third floor, which has been closed, and add new study spaces and furniture. The main library is the largest branch in all of Kentucky. Because the branch is closing, though, library services will be shifting elsewhere, and you can learn more on our website, wave3.com.
Indiana House Republicans meet today for their regular session. While all legislative business is on the table, so too is a possibility of redistricting.
It's part of President Trump's wish for Republican-led states to draw more GOP-friendly U.S. House districts before the 2026 midterms. Rob Wells is back with a look at what's at stake. Rob?
Hi, Olivia. Redistricting supporters want Indiana lawmakers to develop a map with 9 of the state's congressional districts favoring Republicans. Those will be based on 2020 census data like the current maps. President Donald Trump started the redistricting movement by encouraging Texas Republicans to redraw its congressional maps over the summer. Meanwhile, the pressure on Indiana Republicans included visits both in August and October by Vice President J.D. Vance. Indiana Governor Mike Braun and other supporters for redistricting have claimed that Democratic gerrymandering has resulted in an unbalanced map across the country. Some Republicans, like Representative Ed Clear of New Albany, have been against the idea of redrawing congressional lines from the very beginning.
First of all, it's the wrong time to do redistricting. There's a redistricting process that follows the census every 10 years. So the next time Indiana and other states should be doing redistricting is 2031, following the 2030 census.
Representative Clear adds that he feels that trying to push the redistricting process through right now would be unfair to voters without more public hearings and information about how the changes would actually affect them. He says he's gaining at least some support from fellow Republican leaders at the Indiana State House. Right now, of Indiana's 9 congressional districts, 7 are Republican, 2 are held by Democratic representatives. Back over to you.
Well, Paristown has now been transformed into a winter wonderland.
The 7th annual Fête de Noël is back for the next 6 weeks, complete with an outdoor ice skating rink, photos with Santa, and train rides. WAVE News reporter Kirsten Foote has been on the ice this morning, showing you more of the festive fun.
Guys, did you see me fall? Because I fell the second I got on the ice here. So that's why we're using this little thing here. Using my little training wheels for the ice skating thing here out in Paristown. Just doing my best out here. I'm with Janine Hill. She's with Paristown, the director of Paristown Development, and it's such a Noel.
I know. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, December 1st.
Can you believe?
No.
I know. It's here.
So 7th annual Fête de Noël. What do people need to know about the event?
We're back bigger than ever, and we will run through January 4th. So, kids go back to school on the 5th. So, that week after Christmas, if you're looking for something to do, bring them out here. But, we are, it's a very festive atmosphere here. We've got a great market, as you know, out there. The ice rink is super popular. Lots of great activities. In fact, tonight, and we'll talk about that later, we're doing our second annual skillet curling for a cause. So with bars and restaurants out here. So it'll be super fun.
Absolutely. And this is such a fun event. I mean, seriously, I'm out here. I'm just trying to skate out here right now. It's really for people of all ages.
It is. And we love seeing kids out here learning to skate. Maybe they can, when they grow up, I want to take my kid out, to Paristown and learn to ice skate.
7 years. How has this event changed and grown in that time?
Well, the first year we were an ice rink only. So every year we add something new and exciting, which we will, talk about later this morning. But it just, everything is just growing all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so where and when is a, market and the festival going on? And,
sure.
And how long do you have
Sure. So up until Christmas week, we're closed to the public on Monday and Tuesdays just because there's private events or whatever.
Right.
But, we're open on Wednesday from 4 to 9, Thursday 4 to 9, Friday, we'll be open on Friday 4 to 11, Saturday noon to 11, Sunday noon to 9. So we keep really great hours and, come on out.
Absolutely. It's a great time out here, guys. It is cold out here, but you're having so much fun because it's just a happy holiday, activity. So I'm going to go back to skating, guys. Back to you.
Good job, Kirsten. Yeah, and we're going to be getting some real snow coming down soon.
I mean, that just adds to the mood. I feel like it'd be hard to ice skate when it's 60 degrees outside. It just doesn't really fit the vibe.
It doesn't really fit the vibe, but really make it easy for the ice even stay frozen. So, yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on that wintry weather. In fact, we have a winter weather advisory in place for most of the region for tonight into tomorrow morning, an alert day in place as well. Now, looking at many of our Kentucky Mesonet cameras, we're seeing the clouds overhead in Carroll County, Bullitt County, a few showing up in Breckenridge County, but clearer skies over Adair County. And that kind of shows you what we're dealing with the clouds. So for those of you along and north of the parkways, you are seeing some of those lower level clouds trying to push into your area, along with some upper level clouds moving for the west. So we're keeping an eye on both of these things and making for some interesting sunrises, including this one in Bardstown. So an interesting way to start off the day for sure. Now, despite the clouds, we are still on the cold side, sitting in the 20s for every single one of us. Wind chills right now in the upper teens and low 20s to start off the day. So bundle up. Once we get into the afternoon, we'll get back into the mid to upper 30s for your highs. So a nice little warming trend showing up there. After a cloudy start for many of us, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds towards lunch, and then everybody just gets in with these clouds overhead for later on this afternoon. Now, the thing we'll have to watch as we get into the evening will be that wintry weather that I mentioned finally rolling our way. We have the alert day already in place for the overnight hours into Tuesday as we see a wintry mix moving into the region later on tonight. So after about 8, 9 o'clock tonight, we'll see that trying to take over our area. For those of you in southern Indiana, you're mainly starting off with snow. Areas towards the Ohio River and south towards the parkways, you'll be dealing with a wintry mix. So snow, sleet, freezing rain, all possible. And then areas further to the south of the parkways look to start off with a cold rain. By the time we reach midnight, more of us start to switch over to that snow. And by the time we get closer to around 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, the majority of our region should be snow at that point. Keep in mind, we'll watch to see where we see the bands of higher totals showing up in many spots. By the time we get closer to 8 a.m., that snow moving out of our area, keeping it cloudy though for the rest of your Tuesday. So in terms of how much snowfall we're looking at, around 1 to 3 inches of snow in most spots, but we could see some bands of some higher snowfall totals, including across portions of Indiana and south central Kentucky, depending on where the two lows off towards our west merge over the Ohio River and over the Ohio Valley. That's going to play a big role in what we see overnight with those snow totals. Then on your Wednesday, we're talking a mix of sun and clouds, highs still in the 30s, keeping it cold and cloudy for the end of the work week, and another system arriving for the weekend will bring some more of that wintry weather our way. Shannon.
Thank you so much. Okay, maybe you're getting ready for the holidays, put up some decorations. Well, Norton wants to remind parents to be careful with those. They say their Kentucky Poison Center gets calls related to decorations every year. One of their biggest concerns are plants like holly, mistletoe, and Jerusalem cherry. All of those have toxic berries that can fall to the floor. Also, some snow globes contain antifreeze that can be dangerous if they break. Older ornaments and bubble lights can carry chemicals like lead or mercury. Norton says one of the best things you can do is always watch your child, especially when you bring anything new into the house.
Whether it's something they get as a present, whether it's something you got as a present, if it's new in the household, they might try to give it a lick, a taste. The good news is that we are open 24/7.
And experts say if a child ingests something that you should try to call the Kentucky Poison Center right away. Don't try to get them to throw it up.
It's Cyber Monday, which means today is one of the biggest online shopping holidays of the year. Experts say you'll find the best deals on apparel and computers, and retailers are hoping to add a new spin to the sales events, leaning into artificial intelligence. Adobe predicts the Cyber Week period will rake in nearly $14 billion. Consumers spent $11.8 billion online on Black Friday. That's a 9.1% increase over the last year.
Thanksgiving may be in the rear view, but if you have any pumpkin pie left over or any kind of pie, today is the day to eat it. It is National Pie Day, Part 1. According to nationaldaycalendar.com, the more popular National Pie Day is January 23rd. But enjoy that pie, whatever kind it is.
I thought they would all just be on Pie Day.
Yeah, you would think that.
I mean, pie gets 3 days of the year. All right. Well, it's the last day to help students stay warm this winter. The initiative Metro leaders are doing to help out. Bissell Pet Foundation's Empty the Shelters Holiday Hope event starts today. To help as many pets as possible go from shelter kennels to the couches of loving homes, Bissell Pet Foundation is sponsoring reduced adoption fees of $70 or less. The adoption sites that offer the discount include the 2 Kentucky Humane Society locations, Metro Animal Services, and New Albany Animal Shelter and Control.
Well, today is the last day to help a JCPS student stay warm this winter. And as you look at these very cold days over the next 10 days, you can see that definitely you do need a coat. And we are expecting some snow to be coming in later on tonight and into tomorrow. So Metro leaders are raising coats with the 5th annual Chase Gavin Coat a Kid clothing drive. Chase Gavin was a Metro Council assistant who was known for his generosity. This year's coat collection started in September, and from then to now, coats have been collected at every Jefferson County clerk's office.
Something as simple as a coat, can remove real barriers for children and helps ensure that they come to school warm, confident, and ready to learn.
Coats for all ages and sizes are being accepted, but officials say they're seeing an increase in middle and high school students in need. Donations are being taken until the end of the day today at Jefferson County clerk's offices.
Yeah, make sure you have those coats ready all week long.
Yeah,
really.
It's going to be a cold one. We'll be right back.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Cogan. Today, UK is set to fire head football coach Mark Stoops. That's according to ESPN college football senior writer Pete Thamel. Kentucky will owe Stoops $37.7 million per his contract, which is set to be paid out within 60 days. Stoops has coached 13 seasons at UK. He missed a bowl game for the second straight year, and we're still waiting for official confirmation from UK about Stoops' termination, but they lost to the Cards on Saturday. Here's meteorologist Tawana Andrew, and we're looking at some snow moving in later.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing some wintry weather pushing into our area overnight tonight into early tomorrow. A winter weather advisory already in place for that. Now, we are also keeping an eye on some clouds overhead for those of you along and north of the parkways, clearer skies further to the south. And we are seeing some of those clouds overhead on our SkyTrack camera in Bardstown, with even the sunshine trying to get through those clouds. So we're cloudy and cold this morning in most spots, waking up to 20s for everyone, feeling though like the upper teens in many locations. So dress for those teens as you're heading out. Once you get into the afternoon, we're going to keep those clouds overhead for everyone. Highs in the 30s, but it's later on tonight into early tomorrow morning that we see the wintry mix moving in, switching to snow by early on your Tuesday. And yes, we are looking at travel impacts to start off tomorrow morning. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much. It's 7:28. Good morning to you. Hopefully your week is off to a good start. We are keeping our eyes on reports the last few minutes of a two-car crash. This is in the area right now at 65 South at Broadway. New reports of any injuries in there, but you're going to watch that again. That's 65 South at Broadway. Reports of a two-car crash coming into us just within the last few minutes. Otherwise, looking at the big picture, not too bad right now. Make it a great morning. Watch your speed. We'll see you back here in 25 minutes.
Good morning. Happy Monday to you. Thanks so much for joining us here for Sunrise Extra. Yeah, the Monday after a holiday weekend too. Probably a little bit hard to get out of bed this morning. We're going to talk about some postseason action for college volleyball because a lot of our local teams seem to be powerhouses in the volleyball world, and they've got a nod to head to the big dance there. Plus, of course, we're going to be talking about those cold temperatures and how to prepare for all of that. But first, the man who killed a Louisville construction worker and injured an LMPD officer is set to be sentenced this week. A jury recommended a life sentence for Keyshawn Stewart. Prosecutors say he killed Fred O'Bannon and shot an off-duty LMPD officer in the face on the Watterson Expressway in 2021. He was found guilty but mentally ill on murder, criminal intent to murder, wanton endangerment, and fleeing or evading police. The judge will hand down Stewart's final sentence on Friday. A teenager is scheduled to be sentenced this week for a deadly triple shooting in Jeffersontown. Sebastian Malone pleaded guilty to murder, assault, and wanted endangerment charges. Malone is responsible for a shooting at an apartment complex on Taylorsville Road back in April of 2024. 22-year-old Aljay Williams was killed and 2 women were seriously hurt. Malone is scheduled for sentencing this Thursday. Happening today, a street that honors former Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher's father is set to be renamed. The Louisville Metro Council will rededicate the corner of East Witherspoon and North Floyd Streets from George Fisher Way to Mary Lee and George Fisher Way. The rededication extends the honor to include his wife, Mary Lee Fisher, who died earlier this year, celebrating their shared legacy of service to the community. Metro Council previously recognized George Fisher and his many accomplishments in 2022. George was a well-known entrepreneur and died in 2022. Our officials will dedicate the new sign this morning at 9 o'clock. A Norton Healthcare doctor who helped start the West Norton Hospital project has passed away. The hospital system says Dr. Kelly McCants died this past Friday at 50 years old. He joined Norton in 2018 and has served as the medical director of their Heart and Vascular Institute Advanced Heart Failure and Recovery Program. He was also the executive director of their Institute for Health Equity, where he laid the groundwork for Norton West Hospital. It's the first hospital built west of 9th Street in 150 years. The cause of death has not yet been announced. Nurses are speaking out as the Trump administration plans to reduce access to some student loans. The new proposal leaves nursing out of professional degree programs, limiting the amount that students are able to borrow. NBC's Brianna Borgi has details on the change and its impact.
Well, I think we were stunned and we were taken aback.
Nurses sounding the alarm over a Trump administration proposal that would limit their access to student loans.
These degrees are intense and expensive.
The plan is part of Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, which introduced a new cap on borrowing for higher education. Students enrolled in professional programs, as defined by the Department of Education, can borrow up to $200,000. Students enrolled in other graduate programs are limited to $100,000, and that includes nursing, which is not listed as a professional program.
They are saying certain degrees like medicine or dentistry or chiropractic medicine actually are professions and they can borrow more money and their education is worth a larger cost, but nursing is not.
The new student loan caps would take effect next July, but at the Connell School of Nursing at Boston College, the impacts are already being felt.
We are fielding phone calls today from prospective students asking about what this change means for them.
In a statement, the press secretary for higher education says, "We expect that institutions charging tuition rates well above market prices will consider lowering tuition thanks to these historic reforms. But many in the nursing profession disagree with that outlook."
This change from the Department of Education will not fix the cost of higher education. It will only limit people's access to excellent and rigorous programs.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Ukrainian officials in Florida on Sunday. The effort comes as peace talks develop to end the war with Russia. Work is still being done to dig out the details of a 28-point plan that has drawn criticism for proposing Ukraine make major concessions to Russia. Secretary Rubio, who was joined by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, focused on reassuring Ukraine that it would be prosperous after the war. The head of Ukraine's Security Council responded to Rubio by expressing his country's appreciation for U.S. efforts. Rubio says talks are productive, but much work remains.
There's more work to be done. This is delicate. It's complicated. There are a lot of moving parts, and obviously there's another party involved here that'll have to be a part of the equation, and that'll continue later this week when Mr. Witkoff travels to Moscow.
Russian drone and missile attacks in and around Ukraine's capital continue despite the talks. Fresh attacks on Sunday killed 1 person and wounded 19 others. Motors revved up at the Kentucky Expo Center to raise money for families who've been going through a hard time. The Stir Crazy 4x4 Club hosted a car show to help people who were affected by the deadly UPS plane crash. There were more than 300 custom automobiles, including Jeeps, trucks, bikes, and much more. 100% of the proceeds that were raised at the event are going to the Team Kentucky Relief Fund.
I seen the post on Facebook. Everybody know about the plane crash and the donations. I'm sure a lot of people came out to help the families and whatnot for support and whatever they might need help with, So we just came to support, show our cars, and look at other people's nice cars as well.
If you'd like to help out, you can find a link to donate to the Emergency Relief Fund on wave3.com. Young black men in Louisville got the chance to express themselves creatively this weekend. The Black Boy Narratives is a short play created by writer Christian L'Oreal Lucas. It's the collection of anonymous stories from black males between the ages of 5 and 25. She turned excerpts from those stories into monologues with the goal of making space for voices that often go unheard. Yesterday, the Kentucky Performing Arts Center hosted a reading of the monologues. There was also music, vendors, and a writing workshop.
We don't really give black men and boys a chance to speak about themselves and share their stories. So that's how it started, and I'm just amazed at how it's grown from there.
Lucas says there will be a full stage production of the Black Boy Narratives on Wednesday starting at 6:30 at WEB Du Bois Academy. The Portland neighborhood is preparing for a return of its library after a multi-million-dollar renovation. The branch on Northwestern Parkway is set to reopen to the public on December 6th. A nearly $9 million renovation project expanded the collection of books and materials and separated children's and teen areas. The grand reopening with feature-free activities and book giveaways will feature feature-free activities, book giveaways, and so much more. Doctors at Norton Healthcare say now is the time to get ready for what could be a nasty flu season. According to experts, one flu strain has picked up a number of mutations, which could mean it's able to escape immunity from vaccines. Wave News anchor Brian Schlonsky has more on what you need to know to keep your family healthy.
We are starting to see more children and adults test positive for flu.
Flu season has arrived in Louisville.
We're definitely starting to see flu cases starting to come into the emergency room.
Doctors with Norton Healthcare and Norton Children's say this flu season could be severe. A new variant, a mutated strain called subclad K, hammered other countries like Japan and the UK, bringing high rates of hospitalization and severe illness. Because of that, we need to be ready here in the U.S. for an increase in cases.
Now, this strain emerged after the flu vaccine was formulated. So there's not a perfect match between the strain of influenza A H3N2 that's circulating and the strain in the vaccine.
Norton says that doesn't mean the flu vaccine doesn't work. They say it still does, but the sooner you get your flu shot, doctors say, the better.
But vaccines are going to take about 1 to 2 weeks before they're going to start becoming efficacious, but then they are going to last throughout the rest of the season. So it's never too late to get vaccinated.
And you definitely don't want the flu because unlike the common cold, flu symptoms include a sudden onset of fever, body ache, sometimes a cough and shortness of breath. And during last flu season, Norton says they saw more than 33,000 cases. Hopefully everyone can stay healthy this year. But we have some cold temperatures rolling in. We'll talk about that coming up in just 2 minutes. I think this is something we all go through every winter. When the temperatures drop, so does your motivation to get up and do activities. Experts say getting exercise and having a healthy diet year round is critical for your health, and even when you don't want to do it. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has ways to manage winter weight in the weeks ahead.
Add up colder weather plus darker days and all that comfort food. It can equal an unhealthy shift on the scale.
A lot of people sort of hunker down in the winter and stay inside a little bit more often.
Dr. Kathleen Muller with the American Academy of Family Physicians says the first step to keeping a healthy weight in winter is to have a plan to work out. If you're an outdoor exerciser in warmer weather, consider getting a gym membership now so that you can start the habit of going when the temperatures drop even further, or just add ways into your day to move more.
That can be taking the stairs, that can be walking farther from the parking lot into the grocery store. Any bit of movement helps.
With all the winter holidays, we tend to be surrounded by foods we don't normally eat. Mueller says to tackle the temptation to overindulge by having healthy options and allowing that to be your default.
So a veggie platter in addition to the cheese and crackers, and just make sure that we're going towards the veggie platter a little more often.
Finally, Mueller says to remind yourself why you want to maintain a healthy weight. It's not just about how we look, but how we feel now and in the future.
Being a healthy weight reduces your risk of inflammatory conditions, cardiovascular disease, and cancers. We also just are able to move longer through our lifespan and have a longer health span if we maintain a healthy weight throughout our lives.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A recall alert this morning. Silvestri Sweets is recalling 2 Chocor holiday barks due to possible undeclared allergens. The recall applies to the Chocor branded cookie butter holiday bark and the pecan, cranberry, and cinnamon holiday bark. The company says the pecan, cranberry, and cinnamon holiday bark might contain undeclared wheat, and the cookie butter holiday bark may contain undeclared pecans. They were both sold in 5-ounce packages at Aldi's stores nationwide. So far, no illnesses have been reported in connection to the recall, but customers should make sure they throw away those products immediately. If you're headed home from the holiday weekend today, you might want to check the weather forecast first. Mother Nature could disappoint some travelers who waited out yesterday's traffic and snow. Amy Kiley reports as one winter storm departs, another is right on its heels.
Winter weather continues to hinder travelers coming back from their Thanksgiving destinations. Forecasters say a new storm system is taking shape today in the Mid-South, near where Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas meet. They predict snow in much of the northeastern U.S. this week and heavy rain south of there. This system follows a previous one that snarled travel over the weekend.
Winter weather can always be impactful, but this is definitely one for the books for sure.
Indiana police say 45 vehicles were in this pileup Saturday with no major injuries. Delta says no one was hurt when this plane slid off an Iowa runway yesterday. FlightAware reports roughly 12,000 delays and 1,000 U.S. cancellations yesterday. It says Chicago's O'Hare Airport was the hardest hit.
We were pushed back because it was delayed for a couple of hours. Then we were able to get another flight. That one was delayed like another 30 minutes to an hour.
FlightAware says the busiest airport in the world racked up delays too.
The concern is that the flight would be canceled. If it's delayed, we've got some family here who's on standby to come back and pick us up. So we'll see how it goes.
That's even though it's in Atlanta, which did not get snow.
The aviation system is really interconnected and it can have a domino effect. So you can be outrightly impacted even without being in that area that's seeing weather.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
So we are also expecting to see some measurable snow in our area. So AAA is reminding drivers to make sure their cars are ready for the winter. The first thing you want to do is check your battery. AAA says if your battery is more than 3 years old, you should be getting it checked with a technician to find out if it needs to be replaced. The travel agency says inspecting your tires for wear and tear can also help on slick roads, and you should check your tire pressure as the temperatures drop. AAA says even if you're fully prepared, accidents still happen. And make sure you don't find yourself stranded somewhere for a while. Make sure you have an emergency kit in your car with extra car fluids, reflectors, an ice scraper, and warm clothes. Prepare that now before the weather gets here. And check out this cuteness. Some furry friends at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago had some fun in the fresh blanket of snow over the weekend. This is Tim the brown bear rolling around in the snow, just having a blast and seems to be living his best life. But the snow didn't seem to bother this bison at the zoo either, just kind of chilling, relaxing, living the dream. The Midwest and Great Lakes has been caught in a major snowstorm. The snowstorm dumped more than 8 inches of snow on northern Iowa and other parts of Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Michigan. Looks like they're having a blast. Hopefully, we can all have that much fun when the snow gets here for us as well. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be talking about the NCAA tournament coming up for college basketball in just 2 minutes. Well, last year, U of L women's volleyball was playing for the title match, fell just short of winning that national championship. And this year, they have a brand new head coach, some new key contributors, but the same goal, and that's, of course, to return to that championship game. So the selection show for the NCAA tournament was yesterday. The Cards didn't have to wait long to hear their names called. They were the first 2 seed announced in the tournament. They'll open here in Louisville against Loyola Chicago on Friday. Sitting at the top of their bracket is number 1 seed Nebraska. If they eventually face them, that's going to be a really tough one. And even more emotional, though, because it's led by former U of L head coach Danny Busboom Kelly. The Cards saying their eyes are only focused, though, on returning back to the Final Four and winning the final game of the year.
This group, we had a lot of new players that it takes time to gel in volleyball. And, again, the more matches that you play, the better that you're playing. We've had some great wins. We've had some tough losses, but all of that's made us more resilient and tougher in time for the NCAA tournament. In the NCAA tournament, everybody has won a lot of matches and has learned how to win to get into the NCAA tournament. So you can't look past anybody. You have to really meet the challenges that are in front of you. So that for us, that's Loyola Chicago on Friday. I do love our intimate setting here at L&N Arena, and it's such an honor to be able to play a first and second round here.
And the Cards aren't the only volleyball team in our area making it to the big dance. In fact, WKU also got the call. And here's the interesting thing. U of L could face them if they both win their first round matchups. So after securing the 7th seed, WKU opens their tournament run against Marquette. And with a win, the Tops will play the Cards on Sunday. Meanwhile, UK secured a 1 seed in the bottom right quadrant of the bracket. They'll host the first 2 rounds of the tournament in Lexington as they open with Wofford on Thursday, December 4th. With a win, the Cats would then face the winner of Georgia Tech and 8th seed UCLA. How about the IU Hoosiers? They'll be hosting the first 2 rounds of the tournament after drawing a 4th seed. They'll open against Toledo on December 4th and will face the winner of American and Colorado in the second round with a win. So a lot of fun stuff. And if you've never watched college volleyball, it's really exciting. I definitely recommend it. In their first ever appearance in the Big Ten championship game, Indiana will attempt to win the program's first outright league title since 1945. Along with the chance to win the Big Ten, the Hoosiers have also guaranteed themselves a spot in the college football playoffs. Head coach Kurt Cignetti speaking after the Hoosiers' dominant 53-point win over Purdue to discuss what this season has meant to him.
First team in Indiana history to go 12-0 in the regular season. And that's absolute. And regardless of what happens from here on out, this team will always be the first team in Indiana history to go undefeated in the regular season. It happened so fast, I was just trying to figure out what I was going to pack and bring to Bloomington. And here we are.
So the Hoosiers will take on number 1 ranked defending champs and also undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten title game. And although they are the defending national champions, the Buckeyes are making their first appearance in the conference championship game since 2020. Kickoff for the game is this Saturday at 8 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. That'll be a fun game to watch, no matter, well, I think it does matter who you're cheering for. So yeah, we'll have to see how that turns out. That's all the time we have here for Sunrise Extra. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you download that Wave Weather app too to stay up to date on all of that incoming winter weather. And we'll, of course, keep you updated on all of our weather blogs as well. Our meteorologists are working very hard on all of that forecast. Want to make sure you're prepared for what's to come. Thanks for joining us. Stay warm out there.